Welcome to the Zen Zone. We are on the Bigodi RS. This is our off-road session, part of the review. We are going to beat this thing up as much as we can. I really don't want to get it too dirty because I love the way it looks. It's a great looking wheel, but we're going to go hard. Something I found is right away, I couldn't go as hard as I wanted to without the Clark pads. I really need the Clark pads to lock me in for the technical type of riding that I'm doing here off-roading. This off-road is so much fun here at Floyd Lamb Park in Las Vegas. It's one of our favorite places to ride here in Vegas. There's so many different tracks, and you can almost ride all day, a different spot every day, all day. It's such an amazing spot for the RS too, because it's not ultra technical. You can see it's a little bit loose, but not too loose, and there's some tight hairpin turns like this where you really got to sink into them, and then you can quickly, with the RS torque, that's what I love about it. It's a great, I think it's one of the probably best off-road racing wheels because of you could instantly get that acceleration going. Really fast accelerations. That's what this torque is all about. Burning up the hills and stepping on it with a quickness. With the Clark pads, I would be able to get more power out of it. The side pads that I have on are more of the comfort side pads, which are better for cruising and stuff like that, but they're not geared towards hardcore technical riding. These particular pads. The Clark pads are something, yeah, I think for my style of riding in particularly, I absolutely need them. I can't off-road. I was hesitant to release this footage. I kind of want to redo everything with Clark pads so that I could show off a bit more. But hopefully this footage is compelling enough. I mean, I still did pretty good. It's not like I'm falling all over the place, and the RS is so much fun. We had some drone footage here. I was going to include some FPV drone footage. I hired a drone pilot to come out and film me, but it was super windy, and the Skydio actually did a better job than the FPV, in my opinion. And it's not his fault. It was super windy, ultra windy, and yeah, so flying a FPV drone out there is no joke. And some of the shots are really good. I'll be using them for TikTok and whatnot. But for the sake of the review, the Skydio shots are sufficient. You know, you're able to still see the RS. You can see the side pads. Red side pads. I think the side pads look amazing. I love the red color, and yeah, they're comfortable. And I am getting power from it, and I am getting braking from it. It's just not, it doesn't have the jump pad portion. I couldn't fit the jump pad portion on, and the way the Clark pads fit me, it's more like all encompassing, so I feel more locked in, which is becoming my style of riding. The more locked in, the better. I almost want to be fully locked in, you know, not like surgically locked in, but the more locked in, the better, without, you know, giving up my ability to escape. You know, it's not too hard to escape any pad so far. And yeah, I wouldn't mind being just a little bit more locked in to see what I'm able to do with that. Easier to jump, easier to do pretty much everything. Braking. Speaking of which, the RS braking is probably the best braking. I would like to test that out, like actually, because it's just kind of me going off memories and videos that I've watched. But I really feel like the RS has some most amazing braking. Like you could almost stop on a dime. If it had roll bars like the Sherman, that would be cool, because then you can crank back on those too. That's one of my favorite techniques on the Sherman, is the crank back. But the RS doesn't have bars, so that's not something you could do. Although Ustride has been adding bars to his, I think his MSX, he added some roll bars, and I think that's a brilliant idea, especially if you're doing this kind of technical off-roading. Having a little bit of extra protection on the shell of the RS wouldn't be a bad idea. The better you keep your, I mean, the safer you keep your EUSE. It's just going to last longer, so putting a roll cage on it is not a bad idea. Sherman definitely had the right idea with that, and it's not too hard to add one. As far as, well, I mean, I couldn't do it myself, but it looks like Ustride's got that going, so if you need a roll bar, hit them up. I mean, it's worth trying out, testing out. You know, wait from the prototype it a bit, see what it's all about. For street riding, it doesn't seem as necessary unless you're worried about cutting out and rolling. And you know, there's always that chance of crashing, so any amount of extra protection is good, but especially off-roading, sending. You know, obviously it needs to be done right. It needs to be like the Sherman, because if you're hitting your ankles on it, or if it's getting in your way at all, or is distracting anyway, it's not something I don't want to invest in. This particular RS has come from Rev Rides. I'm not sure if they have any left in stock, but if it's something you're interested in, feel free to click the link below to check out Rev Rides. They got more than UCs too. It's kind of cool. Like, If EUC is not your thing, but you're here watching this, just kind of curious, but then you go to Rev Rides and you're like, oh, they also have some scooters, e-bikes. Hey, find the personal electric vehicle that fits best for you. And EUC may not be the best one for you. It could be an e-bike, it could be a scooter, but there is an electric vehicle that's right for you. And Rev Rides might have it. So click that link below. Here is what their website looks like. Here is what the Rev Rides website looks like. Shop rides. What do we got for rides? 010X. What scooter would I want? I think I would go. I want probably the 011X. Which one would I want to race? That's too big. I would want something a little bit smaller than that, like a mix between the the 11X and the 10. Definitely want that bike. That bike is dope. They got the S18 in stock, right? S18 is, oh, wow, that's a good buy right there. S18 is in stock. How about the RSs? Are the RSs still in stock? I guess the EUCs are kind of mixed in, but you can always just kind of like filter it there. RS. Oh, RS is still in stock. All right. It's really hard to review the RS any further because there's not much to add. It has great acceleration, it has great braking, has great off-road performance. The only negatives is the potential bearing issue, which in Vegas I don't think it's going to be an issue because we don't get much water, and it seems the bearing issue is directly related to the water. So as long as you're not washing your RS with a hose or like soaking it down or it's getting heavy rain, then you should be fine. If you're living in a wet climate, just wait for the next batch, because I believe the next batch is going to have the upgraded bearings and you're not going to have to worry about you getting wet. So the patient game for the RS, if you're living in a wet region, if you want one right now and you're in like Tucson or Phoenix or Las Vegas or anywhere where it's warm and you're not getting tons of water, there's not going to be any place where you have to worry about water damage, I would suggest getting it if it's the one that best fits you. It's only 50 pounds, it's not 77 pounds. That extra 27 pounds makes a huge difference when you're jumping a wheel off-road. Believe you me, especially if you're a smaller guy. If you're a bigger guy, it may not be so hard to jump the Sherman, but jumping the Sherman off-road is no easy feat. And with the RS, it's much easier. I wish I could show you some jumps. I will. When I get some extra Clark pads, I'll put them on and we'll take the RS back out. Taylor Motes is actually going to be releasing his review for this too. We kind of did like a conjoined review here, and I think you're going to enjoy his perspective as well. He's been an EUC rider for a long time, and he used to have the MSP, so there may be some like additional insights that he has. I rode the MSP quite a bit too, but not as many miles as he did. So yeah, he was going to have more MSP knowledge. Really, I couldn't tell the difference between the MSP and RS. I would have to have both of them side by side, and the MSP is not really made anymore, so it's like, what's the point of even comparing the RS to the MSP when there's not even like MSPs for sale anymore, not new ones. You might be able to find a new used one, but it's not really, it kind of loses its resale value a little bit unless it comes with an extra board. I wouldn't buy a used MSP unless it came with an extra board, because if you have any issues, it's going to be harder to find those older boards. I think maybe it won't be, who knows. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about there, but I always worry about when a wheel gets kind of phased out, is it going to be hard to find parts for it? Because sometimes when a wheel gets phased out, like the MSP, it's because they're having trouble sourcing motors or they're having trouble sourcing a particular part. So that kind of forces them to innovate and look for parts from different areas. Again, I apologize for the delay of this footage. Part of me wanted to redo it with Clark pads. I was going to take them off the Sherman and put them on the RS, but then I got an unexpected bunch of events has been arising, and the wheels are moving fast in the EUC world, and there's going to be a lot of news and updates coming out. All the companies are back pretty much from Chinese New Year now, so the ball's going to get rolling, and you guys are going to start to see what these companies have been working on. I've kind of seen what the Bigodi has been doing with the X, and I like it. It's going to solve a lot of problems. I think you guys are really going to like the updates. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Galway X now for street. I wouldn't do it for technical stuff so much. It could. Like this trail, this track right now, I would love to try the X on this track, because there's nothing that's going to really hit the pedal rods if I just keep to the main tracks. Plus the pump track might be a little bit fun too. Give it a go, test it out there. I tried the Bigodi X and I like it. But the surprise for me was not so much the Bigodi X, it was the Bigodi Monster Pro. I love that wheel. I am highly impressed with that wheel. It is an outstanding wheel. I would love to test it more. And guys, I'm only influencing you based off like 3 minutes of maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of experience of riding the Monster Pro and the Bigodi X. And I do not like to influence people with such little time on a wheel. But I would pay if I had $3,500 laying right now and there was a Monster Pro up for grabs. I think I would definitely swing for it because I know I can get up my stairs. Oh man, I look so good on it. I have some drone footage of me riding it, and I look so good on it. It feels like feels more future. I don't know. You're gonna have to see the drone footage. I'll be releasing it next week. Hopefully, we'll see. Was in the Bay Area riding with the Alien crew. Those guys know how to send. It's not just that they know how to send. They watch each other's backs really well. They enter like the flow state together, and I love to see that in riding, because when you're riding by yourself, especially I noticed in Bay Area, man, it's congested and there is a lot of variables, a lot of people, a lot of random stuff that happens. It's not like here in Vegas where we don't have nearly the I could ride on so many trails where there's nobody and not see anybody, and I could ride on even streets where there are no people, but that's almost never the case in the Bay Area. There's a few empty streets, and I'm sure it's not as busy as it used to be. But yeah, I really enjoyed riding there, and riding with a crew that is looking out for you and taking care of you is awesome. As Jesse Garnier was there, he's the #1 Sherman rider in the world, and he is the president of Pevra as well, and an all-around great guy. I hope he comes to the races on the 27th so that I can take the title from him as the best Sherman rider. Go for that #1 spot. He's gonna be hard to beat though. I hope you guys can make it to the race too. But even if you don't want to race, you can start gaining experience points by practicing. There's an open track for the first part of the day. You don't have to. This is not for money. There's gonna be a little bit of clout. Yeah, sure. People are gonna take videos, and if you win, it'll be good and may help you get sponsors, but not like big time sponsors. You're not going to get, well, maybe, who knows? I don't want to hold you back from getting that Red Bull sponsorship. If you win, if you beat the scooter and the S-Skate guys, oh man, I hope you deserve to get big sponsorships. I would like to be the guy that beats the S-Skate and scooter guys, but I want to see it happen more than it has to be me. So let's do it. Work together, start practicing, and let's get ready for this race on the 27th. Okay, to conclude with the RS review, I've had 0 issues with it. Rev Rides is great. My only concern is the longevity of this wheel. Can I put a lot? I'm a long mileage rider. The RS is not a wheel I'm going to be putting a lot of miles on. It's going to be more of this kind of technical, fun off-roading wheel. So it's going to be hard to really test the durability in a long run, but that's why I'm also letting friends ride it too to help me put mileage on it. It's a great wheel because they can actually keep up with me on the Sherman because it has the torque and it's comfortable too. So it's a great wheel. If you're in Vegas and you want to ride the RS, try it out. Hit me up. Hit up Taylor Motes. We live right in the same apartment complex, so we'll be making videos together and skits, and we're actually working on a movie. I'm working on a movie. I think Taylor's gonna help with it too. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button, that really helps. And until next time, stay in the Zen zone.